Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ranting Monkeys channel. My name is Satsu from the channel Satsu2cents, and I will be filling in for him for just this video, here to talk about some CNN fuckery. So I know you came here to see the monkey, but I mean there's a black guy here, so it's kind of close. Damn, that was bad. Anyway, let's get on with the video.
So this is absolutely sickening, but I'm going to say something that's probably not very popular. We cannot callously go about classifying things as a hate crime. Motive here matters. So was this for hate of Donald Trump, the president-elect, because of things that he has said, or was this for pure hate of white people? That matters, because if we start going around and anytime someone says something or does something really egregious, really bad and sickening in this instance in connection with the president-elect or Donald Trump or even President Obama for that matter, because of their political leanings, that is slippery territory. That is not a hate crime. Hate crimes are because of a person's racial ethnicity, their religion, their gender, a disability. It is your political leanings because someone doesn't like your political leanings and they do something bad to you. That is not a hate crime.
So I haven't had very many run-ins with this Symone lady, but one thing I can say is pretty much every instance I think I've ever encountered with her has been bad. She has put a bad taste in my mouth every time I've seen her, because she is what you would call the true actual definition of an apologist. She will excuse literally anything if it's done by somebody with dark skin. It doesn't matter what it is or how heinous it is. She will change the fucking subject, jump to a completely different thing, and swear that this has nothing to do with them. They should be, you know, it's not their faults. It's everything around them faults. And granted, she said that it's terrible, and she did vilify the action and all that shit. But the underlining tone of everything she said during this segment was just like, yeah, they did this, but you know, let's talk about this other thing. This other thing is more important. Yeah, okay, yeah, dude got tortured. Yeah, he got scalped. Oh, big deal. Whatever. That's fine. What about the kids? What about what they're going through? And to be honest, that type of shit right there makes me want to punch a motherfucker's face in. That's the type of shit that makes me want to curve stomp you, because anybody who can look at an incident of a person being tortured and find some way to twist the narrative to sympathize with the torturer, we got a problem. We have a fucking problem. And the fucked up part is, like, there's a part of me that understands where she's coming from. Like, there is a conversation to be had there about what she's talking about. Now ain't the time for that conversation. This is not the time to have that conversation. We should not be focusing on, you know, the what's going on TV and what these kids see on Facebook and Twitter and what could be an influencing. No, because there is nothing that they see or hear on TV or social media that justifies this action. It doesn't matter what it is they see or hear. It's completely irrelevant to what just happened. Because if you start bringing that up into the situation, like she loves to say throughout this entire video, I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm not trying to make excuses. She said that like 16 times. And we all know that anybody who has to emphasize the fact that they're not trying to make excuses are fucking making excuses. If you have to emphasize it that hard that you're not making excuses, then you are clearly making fucking excuses. Because why else bring it up? Why would you bring up the fact of what's going on in society that has nothing to do with these kids directly? Like, nothing to do with this incident directly. To say that we shouldn't be able to call this a hate crime, or we shouldn't, you know, call it what it looks like or exactly what it is. It makes no sense that you would even bring that up in this scenario. Now, like I said, if we were having this conversation under different circumstances, it is a conversation worth having. We should talk about what's going on in the media. We should talk about the information that's being portrayed and fed to our kids in certain ways, and we should talk about the information that is being received by them, and how it affects them. But that has nothing to do with this, because no matter what the media says about what's going on in the world or how it may negatively impact you, proper parenting and bringing up kids right would prevent anything remotely close to this. But enough about that. Let's see what more Symone had to say.
Good. What did you want to say?
I just want to remind folks that we cannot sit here and ignore that for at least for the last year, on very public display, the worst parts of America have been brought from the fringe into the mainstream. So that affects people on both sides. We've talked about white nationalists and white supremacists and the KKK, but there are also when this inflammatory rhetoric is out there, when someone is repeatedly telling you that your community is the worst of the worst, it brings out the worst of the worst in people. And so I'm not defending what they did. What these young people did was sickening. I would argue that they also need some help in addition to some consequences. But this just didn't come out of thin air.
Oh yeah, right. They need some help in addition to maybe some consequences. Just to kind of teach them a little lesson about that naughty thing they did. Like this is not no fucking slap on the hand shit that some kids did that you want to sweep under the rug and just make sure that they are properly scolded for. No, this is a serious fucking offense. Like, they literally kidnapped and tortured a person and broadcasted it on the fucking internet. Are you kidding me right now? And the notion behind the fact that saying a bad thing about a specific group of people brings out the worst in them, I'm not going to say that it's total bullshit, but the logic behind it baffles me to a degree that I don't think I've ever been baffled. Because let's think about this logic for a second. These people are saying that we are bad people. We don't think that we're bad people. We don't want to be called bad people. But these people keep saying we're bad people. So let's prove to them that we're not bad people by being bad people. And that will make them stop. Does anybody see the mathematical malfunction that's going on here? Like how this shit don't add up at all?
You think I'm being too hard on these kids?
I am very hesitant to cast these young people as folks who come from broken homes. For all we know, they have a mother and a father who work very good, hardworking jobs, who have instilled or tried to instill good moral values in them, and the young people just aren't listening. So I think, one, we need more facts, and I think, two, we have to be careful to cast our young people, particularly our young people of color, to the side. Look, this was wrong. It was sickening. It was grotesque. They need help. They need to be punished. But we also have to have an elevated conversation about the surroundings and the things that our young people are dealing with every day and the images that they're seeing. They might not watch the news, but they're on Twitter where the president-elect is. They're on Facebook. They're listening to the Breakfast Club. They're listening to the radio. And all of these nasty, nasty things that we've talked about, that we've witnessed over the last year, they have seeped into our children. They are in our schools, and it is coming to bear its ugly head in very, very egregious ways.
She's serious right now, guys. This is not a joke. She's dead serious. Like, she don't want to cast aside the fact that these people came from good homes with really good parents. Two, both parents in the house working hard to instill good values into them. Good values that were so good that it led them to laugh while torturing another human being and broadcasting it on the internet. What the fuck kind of good, wholesome parenting leads to that? It don't matter how much your kids lash out. If your parenting skills are good enough and you're teaching them the value of life and the value of just their lives and how not to fucking throw them away, anybody with a shred of common sense would just be like, this is a terrible idea. This is not good. And even, let's just say they did have good parents, but they were lashing out anyway. They would not be stupid enough to fucking post it on Facebook live. Are you fucking serious? If we did have a scenario where these kids were raised by good parents who taught them good values, they would know what they were doing was wrong. They would not know that. They would know that it was wrong. So they would hide and do it. Even if they were still psychopathic killers, they wouldn't publicly display it because they would know that this is wrong. we're gonna go to jail for this. But they had there was no indication at all that any person there thought they were doing anything wrong. The only girl who showed even a sliver of like kind of doubt was when her sister, who was watching the live stream, was telling her that it wasn't funny what they were doing. Just, come on, man. Like, there's no fucking way. What type of mental gymnastics do you have to perform to get to the point to where you think that these people were raised properly in wholesome households with good family values, and it led to this? I can't even. This person right here is one of the people that makes dealing with all of these race issues so difficult. So difficult because they don't want to be honest. They don't want to be realistic and objective about the situation. At the very least, you know, she talked down on the subject and talked about how terrible it was. But the bottom line is, when it was all said and done, she was just making excuses. She's making excuses for the whole thing. This is the reason why it happened. We got to think about this. We got to think about that. We don't want to just cast aside our children of color because fucking reasons. Like, no. You're not about to feed me that bullshit. There's no way. There's no fucking way. It's just not happening. Not buying it. I know what you're selling. Not buying it. Well, anyway, over on my channel, what I usually say is this is a conversation, so I'd like to hear what you guys think down in the comment section below. I've been seeing all of the support you guys have been giving the Ranting Monkey, so I know I don't have to tell you guys that. You're going to comment, you're going to like the video, you're going to share it, and I think that's awesome. So keep showing this guy some support by continuing that trend. He has a very awesome fan base from what I'm seeing so far, and you guys are showing that support, and I love it. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. It's been a pleasure to be on the Ranting Monkeys channel. And if you'd like to see some more of my content, head on over to Satsu2cents and come holler at me.